Welcome everyone. My name is Nir, and I'm the Customer Success Manager here in Atera. And I will be moderating today's webinar, which is going to be over the RMM. With me is my lovely co-host, Rebecca. This is on chat.
Hi.
So thank you everyone for joining. So we're going to do a deep dive today on the RMA capabilities in Atera. We already did like a mic test before, so I'm pretty sure that everyone can see me, but just making sure that you are able to see also the screen over here. Be happy if you just let me know. That would be cool.
Yeah, we can see it.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so today agenda, we're going to go over the Atera agent, which is an essential component for the RMM capabilities. We're going to explain obviously how to install it and what can we do with the device that Atera agent obviously brings in, and what sort of functionality we have the Atera agent, whether it's monitoring, creating alerts, deploying patches, softwares, and so on. We'll finish with some relevant reports to the RMM that you can use to gather some information on devices. And as always, we're going to finish our webinars as with all our webinars, we'll finish with a live Q&A. If you have any question as we go, please type them in the Q&A, and Becca would be able to at least answer them. Again, if everything else that would remain, we will also can go over by the end in our open Q&A session. Just reminding you that there would be a recording of this message. You're gonna receive it of this webinar, sorry, and you're going to receive it around 24 hours via email. So you also have a recording of everything that we see over here. So let's jump into the demo. And before we start, what you see over here is basically our MSP platform. We do have both MSP and ITD platforms, so for MSP clients and both for IT departments. Both are very similar. So while the demos will be shown on this platform, this is relevant also for those clients that use the ITD products. So if you are an ITD client, encourage you to obviously keep watching, because everything that you see over here would be applicable also to your ITD platform. First things first is our Atera dashboard. This is a quick and easy way to get an overview of the status of your Atera, different ticket statuses, for example, or different alerts. What you have available for the monitoring on recent alerts that you have open, ticket activity, and so on. Everything over here is actually modular, so you can obviously drag and drop and change the locations if you would like of any of those from over here. You can also remove specific ones, let's say from over here. Over here, you can actually decide which one you want to add or to remove. We can even reset obviously to default to have add everything over here. So that's kind of a great place to have an overview of your Atera dashboard. Now, before we go and focus on the RMM part, one of the things that I wanted to bring up, because that's going to be taken into consideration later on when we're going to talk especially about the different agent, the agent installation, and the grouping of the devices, as well as the different profiles that we're going to be using later on. Especially if you are new or you haven't yet used Atera to the fullest. One of the things that I want to actually bring up is a very basic thing that we have in Atera, which is the customers, or if you are an ITD site, which is the basis for everything in Atera, which we can see over there. The reason I'm bringing this up because once you have a customer, and a site, if it's an ITD that is imported, you can have the different devices associated with that specific customer or site, as well as with specific folders. So over here, just like a quick overview, what we see in the customer, we have different contacts. All of the customers and contacts can be imported, by the way, either manually or you can do it from Azure AD. Here we have also different contracts that we can see as well. But the one that I want to focus maybe the most is obviously the devices, because we can have different folders that you can actually create and have them then created under those specific customers or sites. So example that we have this one for the laptops. Here under the All tab, we can actually add new folders. So you can just click over here and actually add the folders. I already have several of them. And once we have a folder, we can actually edit the relations and even add those specific devices that I selected under the folder. And why is it important? Because later on, when we are going to be able to decide on applying profiles to perform specific action, we might want to group the devices based on some sort of common denominator that we want to use for those devices. So the most common one would be, for example, have a folder for laptops, a folder for servers, a folder for workstation, etc. So that is something that we're going to see come into play later on. Going from outside from the customer and the devices we see over here in the customer, I would like to obviously talk a little bit about the agent itself. So the Atera agent is the component that is used in order to be able to get all those, wonderful functionalities that we're going to see a little bit later on the device. So be able to perform monitoring or specific remote action, connecting remote, all of these again being activated and using and collected using the Atera agent. The installation is very simple. You can actually click over here on the top, install agent. We have different agents for different OS types. We have for Mac and Linux. Here you can decide when you're creating the file or creating the even the string in this case. In some cases, we're going to see under different types of downloads how we are going to do the deployment, and we can decide already from the get-go over here if this agent is going to be unassigned, maybe does not belong to any client, or alternatively, we can have that already associated maybe with a specific customer again or site, and maybe even a specific folder. So that might be maybe the first, let's say, pro tip that I can give you is that once you have the customers and created the different folders, here you want to create multiple installer for the agents to have them based on specific folders on specific customers. Now, it's important to know that that does not mean that without it, you cannot actually associate it. We can see that later, and you can definitely associate the devices via the relations options to different customers onto different folders. But it is an easier way for you to do it, because once you have it over here, you don't need to go and then group them and start moving each and every one of them, or even if you're doing it on bulk, you still don't need to do this action. Everything is going to be ready by preparing those installers over here. So multiple installers based on folders and customers, that's one suggestion. Okay, the next step would be the download or how we're getting the file. So we can actually click over here in order to download, and we can see the file, the MSI being downloaded from over here. And we do have other options. Once you can actually, for example, use a CURL to install it via command prompt or script. And another option can be also group policy, by the way. And just in case, if we have these, let's say, very remote locations that might not have any access, which you would like to does not have part of the obviously of your domain or the different clients domain, and you want to still give them the option to be able to download and install the agent, you can give them this link which they can use. It's a URL link to download the install of that agent already from over here. So as you can see, there are different ways to do it. Once we have the agent installed, it's going to create a device that's going to be populated over here under the devices list. As you can see over here, there are different options that you already can see and also perform from the list. Um, I would say that what you see over here is, well, not already new one, but that's going to be like the more definitive devices list view that we're currently using. We had kind of a old one before, but this is the definitive and the newer one that we changed. Again, it wasn't that recently, but again, last year we did those changes. So you can see that over here. Quick glance, you can see over here that the device name is the fixed column that we see over here, and we do have a different other columns over here that which we can even rearrange to our house content. We can obviously edit the columns, so we can decide whether we want to add specific columns or maybe remove specific columns as well. Into from the devices list when we're showing them. There is two ways that we can actually show it via density. We try to do something which is more compact, but we can even have the more detailed one fit to white when if there is a need to do it, and we can even reset as everything else. We can reset everything to the default option. Besides that, on the device itself, we do have also some filters that we have over here. So you can filter, for example, to show you only those devices that are online. There are different ways that you can, different fields, different columns that you can actually filter on if you want to show maybe only specific customer. And you can then save these specific views. You can either save them for yourself as a private one, which means that you only gonna have access to it, or a public that can be used as a view for everyone else. You just give it the name, maybe even a category if you want like to put it under a specific category, and you're gonna have like a new view that you have over here. Uh, Besides that, we do also have the advanced filters. We kind of expanded that one as well, so we have more function, more options to filter by. The past it was more focused on custom column, but right now, as you can see, there is already quite a big variety of different fields that you can actually filter by. So excited about that, and you can obviously use different add different filters over here to filter. You can use the into the or the end, and in addition to that, you have the or operator. You can decide on those when you're filtering. And I'm gonna close what we see like over here. And yeah, most of the information you can already see over here. We can see the alerts, whether there are relevant alerts, whether we have some available patches, remote connection. You can use that already from over here to perform the remote connection. We do have Splashtop, which is available already from the Pro and Professional plans, and everything that is the second tier plan and higher. Do have also AnyDesk. These again both come with Atera as an option for you to use for the remote connection. And if you do have your own license for TeamViewer or ShareConnect, you can also apply these and use that as your preferred remote access method. There are some actions that you can actually perform. Bear in mind, again, another pro tip that you might see a smaller list over here. That is because when you have an offline device, that means that obviously it's not actually communicating, so it won't be able to perform immediately some of these actions. So in order to be able to have the full list of the different things that you can actually perform, this is where you would be able to have the list. We can also see that inside the device, so we'll jump into the device, and I'm going to focus there on the different options already from over there. One last thing that you can actually do also from the list is actually select specific devices and perform some bulk actions like run scripts, assign to automation profile. We're going to touch on those as well later on, and even edit relations. So if you remember, I said before, we can have those agents or even the devices come in, edit and add those devices to be part of a specific customer or site, as well as specific folders. Here you can actually use that edit relations in the bulk and actually change the relevant customer that they are associated with, as well as different folders. So you can already do that from over here. We can actually access, I think, now one of those devices. So this is the new view of our device page. This one is quite recent. We kind of made a change on overhaul. So I'm going to go over the different location over here. Obviously, over here on the top, you can see the name of the device, the owner, whether it's online, some of the other actions that we already have over here, like the remote connection. We do have also the manage. We'll touch upon that in 1 second. And I think one of the coolest thing over here is that we made it look more as a dashboard, similar to what the dashboard that you saw before. So this one is very modular. You want to actually put the alert status with the patching status just immediately one below the other. Want to maybe change the overview, place it over here, activity, place it over here. You can actually rearrange it any way that you would like. What you would usually see over here again as the alert status, so you can see the alerts. We're going to talk a little bit more about the alerts once we go to the threshold, but here you can actually have a quick and easier view on the different alerts that pop up on that specific device, patching that you have. You can also do the manage patchings from over here. So if you have available patching, you can select one, select several, all, and install it from over here. Under this section, we're going to have like a more of a holistic view of all the info that you have on the device, whether it's like device info under the overview that we see over here, whether it's what customer and what folder it belongs to, information on the hardware, the status of the disks, how much it's in use, what will be, for example, OS, and maybe some security, what is like installed on this device. Custom fields, we do have the possibility to add custom fields in different entities in Atera. So when you have a custom field that you want to be using, that is where it's going to appear. And one of the other things will be the monitor the device that we see over here. So you can actually monitor specific device. We're going to focus on a little bit on the SNMP. I'm going to show you a little bit later on how we can use the agent in order to be able to monitor SNMP devices. We can see that we're going to be able to see that from over here. Another thing that we can see is the metrics over here. So information on the memory and the CPU usage on the last 24 hours. We can go to last week's and even last month. Again, one of the coolest thing over here is that because it might be just too small to be able to see that, you can actually go over here and then, just change the size to make it a lot more visible for you to be able to see that. So these are really the things that you can see from over here. Going back again to the top, what I wanted to show is the manage option. So there are things that you can already do from over here, whether it's the patch management. I kind of touched upon that before as an option, one of the options where you can actually go over here even from the managed patches and deploy them. So we have it over here. Software inventory that shows you all the software that is installed. Some of them you can actually decide if you want to uninstall the device. Software installation, which will be something we're going to talk a little bit of here, but we do have offer the option to install software that comes via Chocolatey for Windows and Homebrew for Mac devices. You can search for those over here, for example, and just once you have that specific the specific program that you want to have installed, a specific app, you can actually install it from over here. You can even create a bundle. But again, we'll focus upon that because a little bit more once you go to the IT automation. I can show you everything over there. Just know that you are also able to do that from over here. You can run script, service manager, so you can get a kind of an overview of all the services, stop and start, restart some services that you want. Similar to that, you can also do with a task manager, some shutdown action as well. The command prompt, I think it's also quite a cool thing over here because you can run obviously your own command from over here on the device. However, one of the things that you can actually do is leverage our generative AI. We are working with OpenAI and Microsoft, and we have leveraged that to be able to perform different actions over here on Atera. So you're gonna be able to see that a couple of things down the line. One of the things that you can see over here is, for example, if you're not sure what is the command that you want to do, instead of going and searching for that specific command, you can just write down what you want, click on generate, and it will create that specific command for you. It's a really cool thing that you can do. Same thing we also have, not only for the command, for also PowerShell. So we have that for the PowerShell as well. And we do have like some, user activity. We have, if we have like third-party app like Bitdefender, Webroot, you can use that in order to install the agent for those already from over here, as well as some different tools that you can have, like accessing the registry, event viewer. One of the cool things that I actually want to show, which I don't feel that a lot of our clients actually know that everyone is actually familiar with, that is the help desk aging, which you can activate on the device, and you actually can have that appear in the tray. Gonna stop the sharing for a second over here because I want to show you that in more like if it's full information. Well, so I'll just move that 1 second. So here's the page that you see over here. You should be able to see the right page. So you see over here under the tray, this is once you activate the agent help desk, that's where you're going to see it over here. And you can use that obviously to create new tickets, manage the ticket, self-service. So that is a great tool for the customers to use that, to log into the self-service a portal, or to the users to be able to perform that. One of the cool things, we do have like a combination for Control F12. So if I'm clicking on Control F12, see that should open it in a different window. It will take it a minute. Okay. Oh, it did actually open it, but it opened it in a different window. 1 sec. So you should be able to see that over here. And if we open the ticket, you're going to see that it actually logged me in, or I obviously logged in already as a user, so that when it's going to be launching the portal for the users, they should be able to go through, they not should, but they will go through the login process, unless obviously you have a single sign-on, and they will log in automatically into that the option over here to create a ticket. And one of the cool things is it also takes a screenshot already of the page which we're on. So very useful for the users if they want to have something that they want to demonstrate. They can actually show that from over here. And one of the other things that you can see also over here is actually the Launch AI Assistant. This is actually something that we don't have yet available for the clients. It's kind of still in our beta, and still, or not even beta, but it's still being tested over here. But the idea behind it is to have an AI assistant that would work also for your user. So one of the functionalities that we gonna the functionalities that we have with the Copilot in Atera, that you'd be able to use yourself in order to help you solve the tickets or be able to get specific information and help you solve specific issues with those devices, you can, or some of that they will already be able to do from over here with the AI assistant. And speaking of which, I'd like to also get back to what we showed here, and I'll be able to share the screen again. Okay, you should be able to see my screen again. Great. So speaking of which, the Copilot. So essentially, what this Copilot again, I mentioned that before, and we do have the OpenAI by Microsoft that we are utilizing that in order to have the AI functionality that would help you with working on specific issues. It is prevalent both in the tickets and in different areas, and as well over here in the devices. And you are able to use it to perform specific things. So one of the things that you can use that I can leverage from over here is, let's say that we want, in this case, to, let's see, how to make this device more secure. Okay. And the cool thing is that it's not only the OpenAI that obviously sends you a reply or recommendation based on what you're asking, is that it actually leverages the functionality, the agent over there, in order to be able to analyze information and perform actions that just you can say over here, like maybe available patches, maybe install, in this case, Bitwarden. These are some of the suggestions it actually gives over here. If we're asking, for example, are all drivers on this device up to date? And again, that's what the Copilot is going to do, is going to utilize the information that the agent is giving him over here in order to be able to perform diagnostic on this device, make checks, and provide you with some suggestions. You might be able to see it over here. It takes it obviously a little bit of time to be able to see that. You can see that run some Windows driver updates already identifies that while the check is successful, it might recommend to run some Windows drivers, for example. So we can use that obviously as one of the major things. And it does not only appear also over here, but we can see those devices as well in the list that we have over here. So you can see that under the Copilot over here, you can, as you can see, already open it from over here. And again, perform any action, ask any questions, Copilot already from over here. So it's a great and wonderful tool that allows you to have somebody to help you with both maybe troubleshooting specific issues, gathering information quickly, that sort of use that you can already get from the Copilot from over here. And we're going to encounter the Copilot also in a couple of other locations as well. One other thing that we wanted to going over again, we finishing specifically with what we have in the device. I did mention before that the agent can be used in order to be able to monitor also other devices like SNMP devices. Obviously, an SNMP device, you cannot have any agent installed on it. If that's the case, we can actually use an existing agent to do so. So we can do that if we go under here on your new, and you can see that on the monitor devices, there are different, I'd say, things that you can actually monitor, different protocols that you can actually monitor. We can use that for the SNMP. Here we have the different devices. We can decide which customer it belongs to, maybe folder. And here's the important part, is using an agent to be able to do that. So we can, in this case, for example, select mine and use that as the monitoring agent. Obviously, because you use it the monitoring agent, the recommended thing would be to use it as a to use a device which is a workstation or maybe a server, something that is basically remains within the network and again usually is working, so it will be able to constantly use it for the remote. If somebody is going to use their device, like mine, for example, my laptop, in order to monitor this specific SNMP device, guess what? Obviously, once I go home, I'm not in the network, then won't be able to monitor them. So pro tip would be always to use some kind of a device which is within the network. Here we added the device host name, IP. We can decide on the type of the device, ports, obviously. If we have different versions of the SNMP device, for example, if we have a more secure one that usually used by SNMP version 3, here we can actually the username and authentication password as well. In order to be able to do that, we have some custom fields that somebody added over here. And again, yeah, once we have that, we can add it and the device would appear over here. I don't think that I have on this test environment like an actual device, but we do have like an old Linux at the time. The past we had Linux devices didn't have any agent could have been installed. Obviously now we have any agent. So the way that we could have used in order to be able to monitor functionality was using in the past was using the Atera agent, like a monitoring agent of a different device. Obviously, no longer the case, but we would just, in order to be able to show you what we are looking as an empty device, potential as an empty device. So here you have the different OIDs that you actually can add. If you click on Add OID, we do have also over here the generative OID with AI, where you can just write down what you want it to do. For example, if it's a fee, if it's a printer, for example, you can ask it to show you the toner level, for example, the OID for the toner level, generate, and it will add that over here, and you can add the OID as well. And similarly to what we can later see in different features where we are actually monitoring, we can actually monitor uh, specific threshold. We'll be able to see that in just a second. Here, you can actually monitor also the values that you're receiving from the OID. So if we'll take the example of the toner level, you can set that if the toner level, for example, is below 50%, you want to create an alert for warning in these cases. That's how you can actually do that from over here by adding it from the add OID. So just another useful use that you can use for Atera in these cases. Now, with that out of the way, what I would like is to kind of talk a little bit about the different profiles that we have. So even if we're going into the device itself, we can actually see there is a dedicated section over here, like a small dashboard that shows you the different profiles. We have three types of profiles here in Atera. The threshold profile, that this is basically the profile that is used in order to um, be able to generate alerts once a specific threshold is met. We're going to see that in a second. We have also the automation profile, which is used mainly for OS patch management, for software updates, software installation. You can use it also for maintenance and a variety of different other things. By the way, you can also use scripts in order to be able to do that, and we are going to see that as well. And we have also the configuration policies that is more focused on how the reboot is going to happen when a device is required to go through a reboot. While we can actually access each one of the profiles from over here, I want to take you directly to the page where you can see that. So under admin, monitoring and automation, we do have the threshold list that we have over here. Now, important to note that you can create as many profiles as you want. Just scroll down and create a profile. However, you can only have one threshold per device. So to avoid cases when you have, the idea behind is to avoid cases that if you have maybe conflicting alerts, you want to have only one profile that does all the alerts from over here. And that was basically the main idea behind it. And that's why you have only one threshold per device. Okay. If we're creating one, we can maybe see if here, just probably created several of them, so I wanted to make sure. Okay, this is how the threshold profile looks. Here you're going to have the different threshold that we're going to create. I'm going to see in a minute. But before going into creating even a new item over here, it's easier oh, to actually see how it's been done up until this now. So what is actually those threshold that we're using? We do have some presets that we have created in Atera that gives you an example of what sort of uh, threshold you would like to monitor in order to get alerts on those or not. So we have like more of a common usage that you can take from over here. So we can use that, for example, laptop that we have. So we can see, some performance some performance threshold like critical alerts in case that your CPU goes over 95% for a specific period of time. We have some hardware that you can see over here. If we are taking a preset of a server, for example, you're going to even have more things that we added over here. And of course, if things are not relevant, you can always go over here and actually delete and remove them. And you can even click over here in order to be able to add it. So right now, the threshold, for example, CPU shows it on 90, but you can even change it to 95, or just play it over here with the percentage, play with the time period. And again, once this threshold is met, um, what it means that you're going to get a notification of an alert can be, or again, you're going to get an alert. An alert is going to appear in the alert list that we're going to see as well. But you can also have the option to have the alerts either be sent to you via email or even create tickets for you automatically. So there's already different ways that you can actually get notified when an alert or when a specific threshold is met and an alert is generated. Okay, so these are the existing one. You can already add them over here, but in addition to getting those notifications and creating those alerts, we also added the option of having the auto healing script. And what it does is that you can use our either a script that you already created yourself, or you can use one of the scripts that you created, by the way, even using the Atera option that we have from over here. Or we do have also some shared library script that were uploaded some by us and some by our clients, which you can also utilize. And if um, that specific script is applicable in order to be able to resolve the issue that you see over here, that's great. So you can just apply it, like add it over here. So you are getting also the added value of being proactive. So you're not only getting a message that tells you what happened with that specific alert, you can already be able to actually fix it. And you should be able to even get, if you want, a notification when that specific threshold is resolved. So that's like a huge and a great thing that you can actually take advantage of. Again, these are all presets that we have over here, but you can also create your own. We do have these three tabs over here. The one that's more related to specific events that might be commonly used that maybe you want to monitor, where the software is uninstalled or installed, or failed login attempts. Here under the custom is what you mainly would see with different types of thresholds that you would monitor. And as you can see, besides the CPU load and the memory usage, there is quite a big variety of different things that you can actually monitor. Even antivirus, if the antivirus is active or the firewall is inactive, you can even monitor those as well. And obviously, just like everything else, you can decide, you can actually apply an auto script, just like I mentioned before. Here you have the alert severity. So we do have three, no, actually four types. So information, which is more like general information. In these cases, when the alert that I mentioned before, that you can actually send an email or open a ticket, is not applicable. And when you have like a severe to which information, only in cases where you have warning or critical. But you can again decide when it's not something that is, you just good to know when that specific alert is appearing. You can use that as an information, and you can use warning or critical for the more urgent things that you might want to get notified. I mentioned we have four because there is one that you don't see over here, which is also resolved. And when a case is obviously resolved, you can also get notified on that. So over here, just like similar to what we saw before, here you can select the percentage, you can say the specific time period. I mentioned also the auto healing script, and that's obviously one of the other ways that you can use for the items. And the third one would be script days. We're obviously aware that might be kind of cases where what you see under the custom might not be enough, and you might have very specific use case where you want to monitor a specific functionality which doesn't actually appear over there, and you want to get that information. You want to generate an alert. Here's what you can actually do. You can actually create your own monitoring script, add it over here, and as long as it's going to give you a specific value, right? You can decide what is going to be the type of severity. You can decide, again, depending on the number, the type of value that you're getting, whether it's numeric or it's textual. And you can see over here whether it's bigger than that specific, the value lower or equal or not equal. Again, depending on what you want to be able to, how you want to monitor. And here to decide on that specific value. Obviously, if it's text, you can actually also use text for that one. Once this specific value is again met according to the operating conditions, you are going to get an alert. So even if it's not something that we already have over here, as long as you have a monitoring script that you can actually use in order to be able to create it, you can use it over here. And as everywhere else, we do have the possibility to use the alien script in order to proactively even fix the issue before immediately after it occurs. Now, before we are going to the scripts, I want to show you a little bit more about the script. One of the things that I wanted to actually show you over here is profile assignment. So once we create our profile, we adjusted it as what we want to be using. Here you can actually assign it to those devices. And here it comes again to play what we selected in the beginning. Obviously, you can have devices. So you can select the devices, for example, based on all the devices that are part of a customer's. And obviously, as long as the device you created under the edit relations, you added that to a specific customer, or alternatively, you can have that already with the agent, because once you have the installed agent, you can have that installed agent related already to a specific customer. You can use that in order to have that profile apply to all these specific customers, but obviously not only one. You can have multiple ones. So you can have also select multiple clients if you want. Another thing is the folders. So let's say potentially that this threshold that you build should be working only for everyone that is only for servers, for example, if that is the case. So you can, for example, add that this folder from servers, and you can add different folders from different clients. So it's a great idea for you also to use that as, you know, that this is a profile that you created to be able to monitor only servers. You can use that for a variety of different clients, or different from over here, just add it in here. And the last one would be agents, where you can actually associate it, the profile on a specifically to an agent, rather than to a specific folder, or to a specific client or multiple clients. um, that covers everything that we have with the threshold. I want to jump for a minute over here into the script, because one of the cool thing that we have with the, oh, before that, I do actually want to also talk about the alerts, because I actually told you that once an alert is created, you're going to have a list where you can actually see the alerts. So you can see like a list of different alerts that we have, or already over here can tell you when it's created, again, which category specifically. You can even decide to create from over here a ticket, or you can associate it with an existing one. What's the status, and get maybe a little bit more information on that specific alert over here. But one of the other cool things is that even if you didn't apply any specific script and you have an alert and you want to try and actually resolve it, you can actually utilize the copilot. For example, in this case, you can, let's take this one, for example, CPU load. So again, here, the copilot is actually based on the alert that arrived over here, analyze the CPU, and can tell you um, maybe what actions you can actually perform in order to be able to resolve that specific action. So here you can see it perform the check for the top 5 running processes, and it's going to give soon, obviously, the kind of a summary of what it found and what would be the recommended next step that they can actually apply. And if it's possible, if there is something that you can even do using the agent from over here, it can actually tell you that information immediately. We'll just wait for it in a second. I just want to show you that option. Again, that things obviously takes time because it needs to perform everything. But regardless, even if it takes time, it is minuscule. It doesn't take a long time as it would have taken you in order to be able to go over there and then perform all this process. So something that happens in a matter of seconds, it's something that might take you maybe half an hour, even more, to go over and be able to analyze all this information. You're getting an analysis already immediately. Obviously, again, the OpenAI is the one that actually does all the work, but it works with the agent that you have on the device to be able to collect this information. Without the agent, won't be able to have access to all this information and be able to obviously analyze and give the results that we see over here. So going back to the script, because we talked about it and we saw that it is quite an important thing that we have over here in Atera. So I did mention that you have a shared library script, which you can actually clone in order to have in your own environment over here. And then you can use that in order to apply them, whether you want to apply them through a threshold. You can see that later on, we can also see that we have also in the IT automation the option to do that, even manually if you want on the device to be able to run those specific scripts. But the cool thing about the scripts when you actually create them is that you can go over here into the AI generative script recommendation and write down what it wanted to be able to create for you and actually create the script. So while you can actually go over here, the script editor, and actually go over here and then use that in order to be able to create the whole script, instead of spending a long time in order to be able to create or write down the script that you want, you can use the recommendation from over here. So let's say, for example, if we look over here, what would you like to actually do? Let's do remedy CPU, the high CPU usage. Let's see. So you can have that running over here and run the generative AI script, the generator. Take that specific question that you have over here and actually create a script for you to be able to do it. So in this case, you created the script, identifies the process with high CPU usage, attempts to lower it and stop it, and maybe also above if it's the usage above a certain threshold. And obviously, it also gives you a little bit of a recommendation over here to make sure that you use it with caution. But here you already have, like in a matter of seconds, mere seconds, a whole script created for you. again, you can decide whether you want to be able to change some of the information over here. You can definitely do that. Here it's going to check everything that is beyond a certain threshold, and the threshold is 80%. You can actually go over here and actually make changes for it in the script editor. But the cool thing about it is, again, that you have everything created for you in mere minutes, and then you can actually apply them to any of the CPU load, high usage CPU load that we saw before in any of those alerts. We can use that. So really cool thing that I would definitely recommend using. That out of the way, we do also have a couple of other profiles. One is the patch management. So we do have the patch management and automation one. This one focuses more on the patches, so be able to give you the functionality to be able to patch devices, run patches on devices, as well as updates of softwares, installation of software, maintenance. As I mentioned, there are a variety of different things. We're going to see that everything over here in a second. Important thing to note that in this case, uh, not like the thresholds where you can have only one profile per device, here you can have multiple, and you're going to see in a minute why we do allow it. I do want to point out a couple of things that we have already here in the list. We have exclude patches. Here you can exclude patches in the global level. You can exclude them also on the level of each specific profile, but here if you wanted to exclude them completely, you can just go over here and then enter the specific KB, select them, and use that in order to be able to exclude them. Another option that we have is run offline agent. Seldom it's possible that an agent would not be online, device would not be online while you ran that specific profile. And if that is the case, you want to ensure that it will still be able to apply the actions that supposed and the tasks it's supposed to be performing using the profile. And that's where the run on the offline agent come in, where it allows you to be able to check every specific period of time, which determined from over here. It does it only for a specific hour, but you can do it for a day, 1 week, 2 weeks, one. And if within this period of time that agent, that device is going to appear online, it's going to apply those actions that are in the profile. This action, for example, that we have over here is just testing it for, we'll just check it for 1 hour. So that obviously is too low. What we usually recommend is everything between 1 week and 2 weeks. So those devices, clients that go out for a vacation, for example, that are not over there, the moment that they would return, that would ensure that the moment that they are online again, the profile would be applied on them. Now we're going to create a new profile over here. And here we can actually see how the profile looks. First of all, over here in the top, when you want to run the profile, you can have the option to run it immediately by run now, or you can create a schedule. Schedule can have different frequency, whether it's one time that you can actually select on a specific date and a time that you want it to run, or alternatively, it can do it like daily with specific days, or you can have on all the weekdays that you actually selected, like every weekday, so Monday to Friday, on a specific time. You can have multiple schedules that can run over here. And you can also have this checkbox over here, which to run the profile on newly installed agents. So once an agent is installed, it's going to run this profile automatically on that specific device. Here, in this section, we can see the different tasks that we have. We kind of divided it into three sections, which one is focusing a lot more about the OS patch management. One is more related to software. Any software that you want to have installed as I mentioned before, we have Chocolatey and Homebrew. So those softwares, if you have those installed, you can run an update if you select this option over here. And you can also decide whether you want to exclude specific softwares. You can add it over here in order to and select them that you want to exclude from the list. We have the software bundle. I mentioned that as before. So another possibility would be, for example, to have a bundle that you can create. Let's say Windows bundle, for example, over here, and GVC, and I can add, I don't know, let's see, VLC, let's say, for example, I think that you can have, okay, yes, like, say VLC, Zoom. So here you can actually have different, you can have different application that you want to create as a list, and we can call it test new hire, for example, right? And once you have that, you can actually have that selected. So whenever this profile is running, it's going to install all those bundles. One of the kind of pro tip to be able to actually use it is leveraging the option that you have over here on the top to run profiles of newly installed agents using this checkbox over here. So if you select this checkbox, what it means that you can have that dedicated profile for software bundles. And whenever a new installation, new device come in, empty without anything, you install first Atera. Once Atera is deployed, because it's obviously part of that specific profile, and it's going to run the profile automatically and going to install all the devices. So you can use it, for example, for new hire or new device, for example. That would be a great thing, a great use for it. Here we also have the upgrade for Windows 11 and Windows 10. And here we have everything that's more like disk management, maintenance. We have defragment, maintenance, maybe reboot. And as everything else in Terra that you already noticed, we can even apply. We don't have anything over here that we want to actually use. We can have a specific script to be performed when this profile is running. Now, in the beginning, I mentioned that we can have multiple different profile run on a specific device. And the reason being is that if you would decide, for example, to perform all of these above actions over here, right? You might end up in a case where the profile won't be able to complete all the actions. Because if, for example, you have the critical and security updates which require reboot immediately, for example. So if you have this profile together with the updates of the software, as well as upgrade of Windows, and maybe also running defragment or run on check disk, obviously you won't be able to complete everything. So we say kind of divide them as the different sections that we have maybe a profile dedicated for patch management, one for software management, and a software bundle, one maybe for the disk management and maintenance, and so on. I would even go further as to suggest even go specifically, especially in the patch management, to specific patch types. So if maybe only the critical the security updates, a patch specifically for that one. Let's say that you want to update software, so we have gonna one dedicated for software management without anything else that you have over here. So one only for the software update. And because, for example, in this case, a reboot is not necessarily immediately if you have those software update run, you might want to do it at the end of the end of the week. Have another separate profile only for the reboot, which is scheduled to run maybe by the end of the week. So again, as many as you can, that is the recommended, to give you as much as freedom to be able to perform different action on the device at a different time frames. Under this section that we see over here is the possibility to be able to see what we're going to do in the OS patch management is coming in, even exclude them. If you remember, I mentioned before that we do have the option to exclude also on the level of specific profiles, this is where you can actually do that. You can just like select that specific KB and then add it over here, for example, to the list and have that excluded. Obviously, you can always go over here and decide whether you want to approve it. If you have multiple ones, you can have that selected and you can have approved or exclude from over here. So these are things that you can do. One cool thing that we have over here is the OS patch management installation settings. So thinking about the usual cases where we have Patch Tuesday coming in, Microsoft releasing the patches, and you might be concerned that that specific patch that they released might interfere with the functionality of a specific program or maybe cause issues over there, and you don't want to apply the patch immediately. Here you can actually decide not to approve it immediately, but postpone the approval. And you can postpone it for a different specific variety of the different time that you can select. So over here, the default is 14, but you can have everything that is 14 or higher or 14 lower, everything between 1 to 30 days. Upon the time that it's going to wait for that specific period of time, it's going to appear over here as postponed, which you can still also manually approve if you want from over here, or wait for it to be auto-approved. Important note, though, is to know that once it's approved, doesn't mean that it's going to be automatically installed, because it's based on when the profile is supposed to run. So it's going to become approved, let's say, after 14 days, and then only the next day you have the profile scheduled to run. So it means that only the next day, or only the next week, again, depending on where it is supposed to be. So again, make sure always when you create this auto approving, again, to take into consideration that as well. With that done, we do have one last configuration policies, and then we can go over to the Q&A. The configuration policy, the idea behind it is, as I kind of mentioned that before, if we're looking at the OS patch management, for example, we want to be able to select that we have a patch profile that's supposed to be running. We have this option over here to reboot if needed. So it means that if we have critical security update, it needs to reboot the device. What happens if the device, somebody is actually working and you don't want to reboot it automatically? So here comes the new the policies that we have for the configuration policies that allow you to decide what sort of action it's going to perform. So in this case, for example, we're seeing the Windows Update Restart configuration. There are different ways you can do it. Either use the device settings, the default one, or you can say, don't do the auto restart while the users are logged in. Restart outside of the active hours. So these, for example, can be selected. These as default ones, but you can select whatever active hours works for you. So that could be like obviously the office hours, and within that time period, even if the profile is run the patches were installed, they need to reboot the device. It will still not do it within, if it's within that specific time period, but everything that is after 5 p.m., it's going to reboot the device. You can even decide a specific time period after the patches are installed to wait until it's going to do the reboot, or the one that and it seems like that it's more favorable for most of our clients, it's to give the action specifically for the end user. Because obviously, if you have the restart outside of active hours, you might have different people working different time zones, and that's something that you'd find it maybe hard to control. So giving the option for the end user might be, again, a good solution in this case, in which case they will be prompt automatically to tell them that patches were installed and reboot is required, and they can actually decide to obviously to skip that not reboot immediately, but it will appear for every specific time that is designated over here, and here it's every an hour, until it's going to prompt the user in order to be able to let them know that the reboot is required. We did also add this option over here to force the restart, so you can have specifically number of different prompts that after those prompts are going to appear, after this specific number of prompts, it's going to reboot the device automatically. So also another option for you to be able to stay in control on when the device is going to be rebooted. And obviously over here, you can have the message. This is the generic message that we have that when you send to the user, but you can create whatever you want to use over here. Um, Another thing that we have over here also is the Windows update settings. So that would allow you to decide where it's going to control the updates that you have in Windows. Obviously, the option that we recommend is using the option through Atera, and that's why you actually have the IT automation profile. If you want to use IT automation profile to patch the OS on the devices, you want to have that one selected, no doubt. If this one is selected, that means also that the users won't have any access to be able to update update the OS themselves, to update the patches themselves. They won't have any access from over here in order to be able to perform it. So they need to the only way it's going to be working is using the profile, which is the preferred usually option. And here we have the policy assignment, just like everywhere else. You can actually assign it to be specifically for customer, folders, agent. Obviously, same thing that we have is also over here. I think that I forgot to mention, but again, profile assignment, also for the automation. So both of them you can actually do from over here. Right. So this is basically everything that is RMM related. Be happy to, let's do the stop sharing over here.
Mir,
Yes. Yes.
I had a question coming in from one of the viewers.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure, maybe you covered it and I missed it. Just wanted to make sure to emphasize. It was
Mm-hmm.
about excluding specific softwares from updating. Did you mention that when you were talking about
Yes.
IT profiles?
Yes.
Okay,
Be happy also to give it like a quick show again over here. So
amazing. Thank you.
if we're going to go over here, so the excluding software patches. So there are two things over here. You can exclude basically either software. You can also exclude the patches. If we're looking at software, you can actually go over here and select if we want to use, let's say, for example, Google Chrome, right? And we can have like this one we want to actually exclude. So we are going to add it over here, and it's going to be, oh, sorry, I forgot to go, um, go Chrome, edit, select, and we exclude it. So you can see that we actually exclude it, and we can obviously exclude multiple. So when you click update all, it's going to update all of them, but you can actually decide which one you want to be excluded. And from over here as well, you can exclude on the level of, if it's again OS patch settings, you can actually exclude from over here. So you can actually write down that specific KB that you want and exclude from over here, right? Which you can then later on even approve if you want. Or alternatively, you can also exclude at the level of the sort of global level. Every sort of patch is not going to appear in any of these profiles if you exclude it from over here, which you can see we have these three options over here. So I hope that answered the question.
Thank you. That's great. We also have a couple more questions about patching. I'll actually share. So
Mhm.
this is from Chet. How do you patch devices that are offline when the policy runs?
So it's kind of something that I mentioned before. So when the device is offline, we do have these settings over here. So that kind of works for every profile, but obviously as well, if you have a profile that is dedicated for OS patch management, meaning a device is offline, obviously the agent is not going to receive the command that it needs to download those patches and install them, right? So in this case, that is why we have the settings. I'll share my screen again, sorry, so I can show that again. Okay, so that's why we have the settings that we have over here, which allows you to determine whether you want, or when you are going to check that, when Atera is going to check, for how long Atera is going to check when the offline when the agents are actually offline. So maybe it will be a little bit more better if I'm giving an example. So if we select, for example, a day, the way that it works is it checks every hour by the end of the hour, if I remember correctly. So that means that it's going to, during 24 hours, it's going to check every hour by the end of the hour to check if the device is online. If the device is online, obviously it's going to apply that specific profile, read run it immediately. However, if it's not, then it only checks for this period of time. And that is why I said I would recommend to actually have longer periods, for example, a week, because it means that every day, every hour, it will keep on checking for a period of a week. If you can have the same thing for a period of 2 weeks, you can have the thing as well for a period of a month. Again, it depends on how much do you know your clients and your users best. You know how long they are usually offline and how it can actually occur, and that's why you can use this option over here to have that run outside of the operating hours.
Amazing. Thank you so much. We also have
Hmm.
another question that's hatching related. I know you went over it a little bit before, but maybe just a
Hmm.
bit more depth.
Definitely.
Richard said, I'm new to this, but can you go over how you would use Chocolatey in installing software?
So here's the cool thing about it. You don't need to actually know anything in order to be able to do that. So if we go and find my profile here, which one was it? Let's go. Um, so you don't actually have to do anything. You don't need to. Obviously, there are some information that you need to make sure that you be able to allow from Chocolatey and Homebrew, and we do have specific dedicated articles to help if you need them as well. But you don't need to have Chocolate yourself, don't need to have Homebrew yourself. These are all coming from Atera with its connection with Chocolate. So whenever you have a device that needs to be updated, the only thing that you need to do is actually select this checkbox over here, update. And if you want to exclude specific patches, you exclude them from over here. If you want to do an installation, again, best use it as a software bundle. You just select that specific bundle, create yourself with the bundle of uh, um, the different programs that you want, different software that you want to install, and you use it from over here. You don't need to do anything from your side on Chocolatey because it takes all the information from over here. Again, bar maybe technical issues that you might have encountered, but that again, that is why you can always go into our KBs in order to be able to see that. And of course, our support, which is excellent, and you can work with them there. Contact them directly over chat and they would reply immediately in a matter of seconds, and you can ask them for assistance if that is required. But again, bottom line, you don't need to do anything from your side over here.
One more question we'll do. I see
Hmm.
a few more are coming in, but we are a
Hmm.
little over time, so I don't want to keep everyone too late or
Hmm.
early wherever you are. Let me just share it. So Jonathan asked, can we upload custom software to push installs via Chocolatey or Homebrew?
Wonderful. So the short answer is yes, but there is a caveat. You're not doing it through Chocolatey because you cannot actually upload them to Chocolatey, but you can have your own repository. This is an option that we do have, but it exists only for the top tier that we have, either the Superpower or the Enterprise. And that allows you the possibility to have your own repository. We are using, can actually see that in this area of the here on the software management, we can see software repository where it is. So we are actually using NuGet repository in order to be able to upload. You will need to have a NuGet repository. We do support different three options that you can use, which is um, the Azure artifacts, NuGet, MyGet, and JFrog. These are the three options that you can actually use. So you need to have these services. I believe that the Azure artifacts, I believe, is also something that is available if you have their services. So you should have that as well. Again, depending on the plan. whether it's MyGet or JFrog, again, different other repository services that you can have. But once you have those repositories, you can actually create this connection between those repositories. You upload the programs over there. And what it means at the end of the day, these would appear available. So if we had like something over here, like the Atera agent that we see here as an example, so if we go into one of those option that we have over here. Let's go into a bundle and let's say that I am creating a new bundle, right? And I'm looking for the Atera agent. You can see over here, obviously, that it's a little bit different because it's the tag over here that is well, for the success is actually means that this is a program that is not part of Chocolatey or Homebrew. It actually comes from the repository that we are integrating with. And you can actually use that to, again, that's a great way to use that in order to be able to upload maybe your own homegrown, home developed softwares and to use that in order to apply to and use obviously the power of Atera to be able to apply them on all your devices. So yes, it's there, but you need to be part of the again superpower or the enterprise plan for that.
Wonderful. Um, we have two more questions. Should we continue or should we stop? What do you say, Nir?
Yeah, I see it. I mean, I have no problem. I can actually usually where we that would be already the time that we will finish. But let's go over these two questions. I'd be more than happy to, and then we can actually conclude everything.
Yes. And just one more thing before you go ahead and get started on answering these.
Hmm.
As I said in the chat, please, everyone, if you have a chance before you hop off the session, please fill out our survey. It really helps us understand, how to improve these webinars and continue to make them personalized and the best addition to the platform for you. So we'd really appreciate any feedback that you could share in the survey. It's very short, probably can take 1 or 2 minutes. And again, we'd really appreciate if you could take the time to fill that out before you head out.
Great. And let's see. Do you want to let me know which one we're looking at?
Yeah, let's start with
Let's.
Abhishek's question. Apologies if I pronounced that
Mhm.
incorrectly. He said, how can we get continuous alerts until the threshold is fixed?
So that usually what will be the case. I do have one for an example over here. So if I'm going to go into my list, Rebecca, you should be able to still see my screen, right? I just wanted to check.
Yes, we can
Right?
still see it.
Which you can see over here, for example, this CPU load. I actually created this as an example. So I obviously set it up with a very low threshold over here. So whenever it already bypassed, I think it was around 10%, it's going to send a message. So I already basically resolved that in the past. I had it created already before, but obviously it created new ones over here, so it keeps on creating new ones as long as you have them. So it is continued. You create that one that you see over here. Once you can actually resolve it, it will create a new one if that obviously issue is still happening. So I do hope that that answers your question.
Wonderful. Amazing. And then final question.
Mhm.
Um, 1 second. Okay, this is from Edwin. Will Chocolatey always take the latest version of a software package?
Equality would always use the latest version that they have available on there. So again, bear in mind that this is a service and that is a service. It's only everything that is available from over there. I believe that if you can go, I can't find it right now, but you should be able to go into our KVs as well, and you can actually see there is a link to that would take you to Chocolatey, but you can also get information directly from Chocolatey of which versions are available over there. So obviously, yes, this is the latest version, but the latest version that Chocolatey already has. It might be like there is a new release for a specific software that is yet to be approved and used or available in Chocolatey. So it probably will take a little bit of time until it's there, but it's always will be the latest one. that they have available.
Amazing. Thank you, Near. You are a superstar. I just wanted to
Hmm.
plug one more thing before we say goodbye. First of all, again, reminder about the survey. It'll still be
Hmm.
available even when we log off. So please take a moment. And the other piece is we actually have just released a public roadmap. This is a great way for you to see what is coming with the product so that you're aware of latest features being released. And of course, contributing to our features board will be the guide to how our product team decides to add features to the roadmap. So I'm just going to paste the link into our chat so you guys can take a look. And Near, if you have access and you want to share that quickly, since you
Yes, I
have
can share that
a
as
share.
well.
Yeah.
Let me just quickly share my screen, and you should be able to do that. The tour roadmap. You guys should be able to see that, so you can see everything that is been already released during the first quarter
Yes.
recently. Things that are actually coming over here, and again, everything that is in the pipeline. So you can actually have a quick look over here, and of course, we keep on updating them. So whenever there are new things coming in, new things coming, and things planned, you can see that over here as well.
Fantastic. Very exciting. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Near, you're
Thank you so
amazing.
much, everyone. Yeah, I'm sorry. I actually think that I even closed my camera before. So yeah, want to thank everyone. I know it's also been a little bit long over here, but I do hope that it was fruitful and gave as much as a complete overhaul of all the RMM features that we currently have. Um, so yeah, thank you everyone, and let's see you all on the next webinar. Have a good one.
Amazing. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye everyone.